based on who's on my screen. So Lyle?
We're supposed to record this.
Am I on the agenda? Or is it
Well,
Devin,
we're just
Devin
doing
doing financial?
just doing introductions.
Oh, okay. Lyle Jepson, Executive Director of the Chamber and Economic Development. Thank you very much.
Nailed it, man.
Whew. I got it. I got that one right. I'm done for the day.
Good job, Lyle. Rob?
Rob Stubbins for Rob Stubbins Electrical.
Hi, Rob. Good to see you.
Hi.
Amanda?
Amanda Richardson, Southern Vermont Area Health Education Center.
Thank you. Ellen?
Hi, Ellen Coyle, Human Resources Director for the City of Rutland.
Thank you. Missy?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. Missy Mackin with Vermont Works for Women.
Thank you. Brian?
Brian Kearns, Vice President for the HR team at Rutland Regional Medical Center. Thank you.
And how about Karima and Devin?
I'm Karima Edwards. I'm a senior planner here at Rutland Regional Planning Commission, and I'm also over workforce planning.
Hey all, Devin here, Executive Director for the Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you. And I'll introduce myself. So I'm Wendy Morris. I'm the regional manager with the Vermont Department of Labor in Bennington, Rutland, and Middlebury. And I am the vice chair for this. So thank you. Good morning, everyone. All right. So, yep. Oh, thought somebody had a question. And Melissa Connor, our chair, could not join us this morning. So next on the agenda is the approval of the April 8th agenda. So I guess, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Actually, I should say, sorry, any discussion about the agenda? No, okay. Can I get approval? And I heard motion. I heard Lyle say so moved.
Yes.
I'll do a second.
Right? Any opposed? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. All right. Next is approval of the February 11th, 2025 minutes. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Or questions? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the
Motion.
minutes? Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. All right. And do we have anything on I know we've got an open to public. We don't really have any public on our meeting, right? This is all folks that belong to the Rutland WIB. Karima, you're probably more familiar with that than I am at this point.
We don't have any public present.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Next is the February financials. That would be you, Lyle, I believe.
I can take care of those for you, Lyle.
Okay.
That sounds
Thank you,
good.
Devin.
Great. Thank you.
So no surprise, there was no activity in February except for adding a whopping $1.57 of interest from Heritage Family Credit Union. So February reflects a net income of $3,338.25. Looking at the balance sheet of the $13,607.69 in Heritage, $4,319.77 are Vermont Community Foundation funds to be used for Bring Back the Trades event on May 20th, leaving $9,287.92 for general operating. As previously reported, an additional $2,500 for 2026 and 2027 will be awarded by Vermont Community Foundation once an email is submitted between October and November. Both this year and next year, stating the WIB would like to accept the award and will be able to apply the grant funds for the award purpose. The award purpose is supporting youth events. Is that right?
Are you talking about for Bring Back the Trade?
For Vermont Community Foundation.
Oh, yes.
Okay. WIB's administrative expenses will be paid in the last quarter of FY25. The post office box, the business owner's insurance, and the director's insurance. Those totals will be around $1,800 to $2,000. And that is it.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Any questions about the WIB financials? Great. Great, thank you. We are moving right through our agenda. Next up, regional updates and collaboration. Do you want to take that, Karima?
Yeah, thank you, Wendy, and thank you for stepping in. So one of the things that we agreed on at our last meeting was that we start to share more about what everyone is doing, so we have more of an idea of how we can collaborate and continue to share information. So just around the room, if you all want to start, if anyone wants to volunteer, you can. If not, I'm looking at you, Amanda, because you're up at the top. If you want to start sharing, you know, what's going on with your programs, any updates that you think might be relevant for all the folks in the room.
Sure. Program wise, this summer, Southern Vermont AHEC is partnering with Governors Institutes of Vermont to offer a Health and Medicine Institute at VTSU Castleton for a week. So that is happening. That is 70 students from across Vermont going to be on campus there with us for a week, learning all about health and medicine. And we also, for that program, bring down University of Vermont medical students to work with the high school students in the program with the hopes from Southern Vermont's perspective that they get out of Burlington and see our region and hopefully consider eventually practicing medicine here. And in addition to that, in the summer, I'm working with the city of Rutland on a water-based research project with 2 medical students to do something related to water and health. Pretty open-ended at this point. So again, trying to get more medical students to think about Rutland as a place that they want to work, hopefully long-term. So that's a very sort of long-term pipeline thing. High school-wise, we, I'm visiting classrooms. There's a lot. April is crazy fair month, right? GPS, I think a lot of you are involved with GPS at Rutland High last week, because I saw a lot of you there. And what else is going on? Union has a fair coming up. Auto Rally had a fair, career fair recently too. My colleague went to that one. I'm trying to like separate in my head out what's Rutland because I have a large region. And then I think one thing of note for this group that we might consider talking about, I know that Tapestry Epic, the after school program for Rutland City Public Schools, just received a large federal grant for more after school programming that I think is more workforce based. We wrote a letter of support for that grant, so I don't know if we want to consider inviting them to WIB meetings. Random thoughts, but that's about it for me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that grant? Is that something that you know the details of as part of the application?
Yeah, it was one of those like last minute we threw a letter of support in. I don't really know a ton about the grant. I just happened to know they got it because I saw Marie at GPS. But I'm happy to sort of reach out and find out a little bit more.
That's in partnership with Ellen. Are you also working with them on this grant?
No, haven't been involved at all. I mean, I can certainly reach out to Marie. I've known Marie for years, way too long. And, just try to find out what it might be in regards to, because certainly we might have an opportunity to partner with them, especially during summer camps and summer programs. So I'll certainly contact Marie and see what I can find out about it, and if there is an opportunity for the city to partner with them.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Who would like to go next?
I can go. We are right now looking for some of our summer help. Normally, every year in our Department of Public Works, we take on 5 high school or early college age students to essentially try on some jobs for the 10 weeks of the summer. I just found out yesterday when we were interviewing someone that our last 3 of our last hires are people who actually came through the summer programs and had worked with us for a period of time. So it is a good way for us to get people exposed to the different jobs that we have and how important they are. So I'm looking forward to that. We've done more partnering with Castleton this year in the time that I've been here. We actually partnered also with Vermont Law School. So we took a law intern September to December, and that person actually has graduated Vermont Law School, has their JD, passed their bar exam, and is now working at Ryan Smith and Carbine after spending some time with us. So we're very excited about that, and now we have a connection there as well. We have another Castleton student who is in criminal justice program, and he has been interning for the spring. The beautiful thing is he is also bilingual because he's Canadian. So he has been helping out Ryan Smith and Carbine on a couple of their things where they've had legal documents that have come to them in French. So he's been doing some interpreting as well as working with us. And we've sort of been immersing him in both employment law as well as just straight municipal law. And so we also have our police department, fire department, and our legal department fighting over him and saying, you don't want to go to law school, just come work for us now. Everyone's in love with him. So we are doing well with that. And also because he has talked up so much how well his experience has gone. We've had a couple of other departments reach out to us. And so we're looking at potentially taking on 2 additional summer interns in the HR and legal area to sort of get more exposure and help us sort of keep afloat with everything that's happening these days. So we're excited about that. Similar to Amanda, fairs, lots of recruiting, lots of getting out there. The one thing that we're doing, which we haven't done in the past, is sort of uniting our branding. We actually are trying to pull our police, our fire, and then me just as general recruiting, and having us placed all in the same area. What we have found is students think that police and fire are completely separate entities and not part of the whole city network. So trying to fix some of those things that seem to be either not communicated well or misunderstood. So we're working on those items as well, getting ready for tomorrow's recruiting fair. That is at Castleton as well. So just trying to put a lot of more connections out there for us so that we can do a lot of recruiting. One of the presentations I made to our board, and I think I've said this already, 24% of our workforce can retire in the next 4 years. That's a lot of people for us to be replacing, in addition to a lot of the seasonal and cyclical work that we're doing. So again, just trying to promote the opportunities that exist within the city, and also talking about the benefits that come along with that. People don't understand a lot about the hidden paycheck. So doing a lot of education internally right now is more for our leadership team to talk about, here's your base starting pay, and here's everything else that goes along with it and what that does as an employer. There seems to be some things missing from our leadership when they're talking and recruiting, and not necessarily promoting the whole package of what the city can offer as an employer. So a lot of internal education and a lot of external education and recruiting happening here.
Thank you, Ellen. Didn't I hear you say your internships are throughout the year?
I'm sorry, say again?
As far as your internships, are you all holding Are they available throughout the year, not just the summer?
Yes. Generally, what we look for in the summer, for the public works, it tends to be high school students, 18 years old, because they're operating equipment and doing some different types of activities. So that is a regular thing. What we are expanding on is trying to bring in students throughout the year and work with them to give them exposure. And that was part of the reason for partnering with Castleton at this point and bringing in students who've actually been working in the office.
That's great. Thank you. Amanda, you dropped something in the chat. You want to just briefly?
Yeah, Ellen jogged my memory. There's a health and human services fair, but there's also just a general Castleton undergraduate fair for folks that can sign up if you're interested in tabling at Vermont State. Yeah, and I put the contact information in there.
Thank you for sharing that.
Can I jump in next? I'm going to need to jump off at 9, so I don't know if this would be timely or not.
It would be great. You have some exciting things to share, Lyle, I'm sure.
I don't know how exciting, but Crispin White, just as a reminder, or maybe new information, Crispin is our contact between Castleton, BTSU Castleton, and the business community. Whenever Crispin goes out, he brings a sheet around that talks about how to sign up for an intern through Castleton, through the Handshake program. He is willing to help with getting things on Handshake. So you can certainly reach out, or folks can reach out to Crispin if they are looking for connections. And then there is bring back the trades. It looks like right now, Karima knows more about this than I do. She is like right at the heart of all this planning. Thank you. Looks like we have about 1,300 students signed up to go to Castleton on May 20th. And I know some of you will be tabling there, and the more interactive, the better. And Ellen, I just reached out to, and I probably violated all HR procedures. I just reached out yesterday to Officer Rosario to see if they could bring a cruiser. We would love to have, we're going to have, part of that is going to be equipment. And so different businesses are bringing cool things that students can touch, not necessarily drive, but sit behind the wheel of. And so I did reach out to him. He suggested I talk to Matt Prouty, but I don't want to do anything you don't want me to do. So you want me to just reach out to Matt?
I'm not sure that Matt's actually part of the recruiting team at this point. But go ahead, try him. And normally we have a couple of officers. Emilio is one, Tim Rice is another, and they sort of seem to be the recruiting team. The challenge is that Tim works nights, Emilio's during the day. So yeah, I would say go ahead and reach out to Matt, and then I can circle back to them.
Beautiful. Yeah, I was going to actually suggest that if there was, in addition to Officer Rosario, if there was a female officer, I think it would be very cool to have both. So, all right. So we're working on that. We've got about 50 businesses so far. I expect that will grow. It will be at Castleton on May 20th under the pavilion and tent, and Hoff parking lot will be filled with different types of trades vehicles. There is an app that has been created that will encourage students to actually talk to all of the employers that are there. Lunch is free, open from 9 to 3, and we're pretty excited about that. What am I missing, Karima?
I think you covered it. If you all on the screen know of any employers that might be interested in tabling, please share that information and pass that on. I can put the link to the program in the chat too.
And I think everybody on the screen's been contacted. That's what I think.
Everybody have everything? Okay, well.
But they may know somebody else. And the more interactive, the better. We don't want this to be the, sitting in a chair, talking to somebody who's sitting in a chair. The more we can engage and build relationships, the better.
I don't
And
think it's be sitting in a chair at all. While I think that there's so many hands-on activities that the participants will be very active. They'll
Yeah.
have a lot to do. So
It's what we're looking for.
Lion Karima, has anybody from any of the branches of the military been contacted about this event?
I believe so. In fact, we've reached out to, what is it called? The Space Force. There's a new arm
the
of
Space
the Air
Force.
Force. Yeah. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get their cool van, but they've got like a 40-foot trailer that they bring around. And I saw it at Eastern States this past weekend at the robotics tournament, and it is way cool. If we can't get it this year, we're going to get it next year. There's some really good things out there.
Awesome. Let me know if you need help connecting to any of the branches of the military. I mean, one of the things that I've always felt in the past is, well, and I still feel this way, that it would be so cool if all branches of the military had an opportunity to sort of showcase their pathways, and bring some of their cool things that really engage students. So this, to me, I think this would be an awesome event for them to be able to do that, since it is really hands-on and they do represent so many different aspects of skilled trades.
Yep, Karima and I can check with Crispin and see what's on the list. Great.
Awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
my
Thank you.
report.
That's a good recommendation. Thank you. Devin has to leave.
Bye, all. Sorry, we'll see you later.
We can have fun now. So, thanks, Devin. So, who's next?
I'm
Brian,
happy
you wanna
to,
share?
was someone else going to go?
Nope.
No?
that's all you.
Okay. I'm happy to jump in. So, our RMC will of course be at the Bring Back the Trades event. We're going to have quite a force there. We're going to have some Frisbees. It's going to be our gift. We know young kids like Frisbees, so they're going to be flying all over the event hall, I'm sure. So heads up. We do have a new member of our executive team here. Eric Peterson is his name. He's our Associate Vice President of Facilities, Projects, and Services. So we're going to lean on him a lot to enhance the service and trade roles here. There's a lot of capital enhancements to our buildings that Eric will lead, but hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him out and about. And we're excited for him to be there. He's got some things on his target list, such as bringing back our service and trade apprenticeship programs. Those have served us well in the past, but we did let those go in the last few years, and we do need to keep an eye on some aging employees and making sure we have backfill for them. We are preparing to receive our new grads, our new nursing grads from VTSU and other schools throughout the Northeast. So that's always an exciting time for us. And I did want to highlight, people can use me as a contact here. I think, Amanda, you were mentioning like doing some things with medical students. We are always willing to shadow someone around, from a high school kid who's got interest in a medical field to, someone who's in between years from like med school and so forth. So just, please use me as a contact there. I mentioned the last time we met, we have a new director of education and clinical excellence, Helen Papica. And, we're really going to lean on her to really expand that shadow experience. And between the HR team and Helen's education team, we're making sure that RMC has a presence at all of these high school events, the RHS GPS event that we just had, and making sure that we have a role there. Our volunteer service program is alive and well, and we're really trying to prop up our teen program. Ashley Bride, who helps lead that program here, is out at several high school events looking to get teens into volunteer programs here. Oftentimes when they're here, they're also spending time in departments where they have a career interest. So I really did just want to highlight that. Exciting news from a talent attraction standpoint. We are in the process of implementing a new candidate relationship management software. It's called Phenom. That's Phenom. And suffice it to say, it's this AI enhanced tool that is going to, I think, bring a lot more people into our pipeline as far as interested in roles, and really give a personalized career experience right off the bat when someone begins to express interest for RRMC. So that's exciting. I'll certainly share more about that. We hope to launch that live in July of this year. And then last but not least, these jobs are going to hit our job website this week, but we are going to host 10 paid summer internships. And so those are for graduating high school kids, or who graduate this year, or someone who's already in a college experience and has a intended career path in some kind of healthcare aspect. Doesn't necessarily have to be a medical field. Someone who's in marketing, HR, finance, whatever the case may be, but we're really trying to build pipeline to RMC there. So those are 10 paid positions, 8-week program. We do some fun education, retirement discussions, and we usually get the Rutland young professionals come up and talk, and so just some fun things there. So I think that's the high points. Thanks for a chance to share that.
Thank you, Brian. And can you tell me again, what's the biggest area of need right now as far as, staffing?
Yeah, it's nurses still, registered nurses for sure. But right on the heels of that are radiologic techs. So we do suffer still from the loss of our local X-ray school, and CSJ, of course, used to have an X-ray school as well. So that's a real pain point for us. So I would say nursing, X-ray techs, just really difficult. And we do, I'm sure we all get this, but we have, 4 to 6 generations in the workforce right now. The alphas, who are some of our high school folks that are working second shift, food service for us, as well as some of the millennials and Gen Z folks. If they stay with us for 2-3 years, it's amazing. They're just on the go so much, and we're still trying to morph them into people that'll be here for their career. And it's painful to think that, again, 2-3 years, we should be happy with that. But thanks for your question, and I hope I answered that well. So.
Yeah, thank you. Amanda, did you drop something in the chat? I can't see it because if I click off my screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I was just asking Brian if he would send me the internship link, because I would love to share it with students I meet with.
Yep. I'll actually post it out here in just a little bit. So
Perfect. Thank you.
Rob, welcome to the meeting. I'm so glad you were able to attend. Do you want to share anything that's going on with the business? We had a great conversation, and I got some really good information from you as far as we're building this bridge program. But if you'd like to share, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I guess with several of those programs that have been going on the last few years, whether it be 5, 6 weeks or whatever it might be like that, short-term things. And when we were mentioning it, it'd be hard for you to give them much information on one trade, one area, um, to have them really get an understanding of, and train them in that area. We thought that maybe they should be, kind of check into their soft skills and see what they, what they're able to do. Also check and make sure that what they're really interested in. We have a lot of, Brian, you had made me have to laugh a little bit because we have the young kids coming in and, for interviews, and they're just not really that interested in anything in particular. They just, oh, it's just another job, and they don't even know what it is. One guy came in, he was working at Home Depot, and my son asked him, well, why do you want to be an electrician? And he said, oh, I'm just checking things out. It's like, not, I've always been mechanically inclined. I really want to get into a trade or anything like that. Just kind of checking things out. He had no idea what it, we even did. So that was kind of our thoughts on that. And so we spent a bunch of time talking about that. And another thing that I've been trying to find out for years, like going to job fairs and stuff and trying to speak with people from the military, we thought it would be a good idea to be able to find fellows that were in the service and, they were now retired, and having them come into the workforce. And we're not having much luck finding anybody. We don't have the right contacts, I guess, to be able to get people that are coming out of the service with training that they have, that, might fit into our area or any of the other trade areas. So I don't know if anybody has information that we've talked to the different people at the job fairs and stuff, and haven't gotten real far on that one. But that might be something else you could consider, is not only getting people interested in going into the services, but people that are coming out to, get them to look into different areas for jobs too.
So Rob, thank you for asking that. So we do have somebody, his name is Paul Gillette. Paul is our local veterans rep, and there's kind of two sides to the work that he does. He works directly with veterans that have significant barriers to employment, but he's also working with employers and promoting the hiring of all veterans. So he's connected to a lot of the veterans groups. There is something called Skill Bridge, which is something that the military is. It's kind of like a military sponsored internship program in a way. It is not heavily utilized here in Vermont, but there are some other states that seem to utilize it more. We would love to see more employers get involved in SkillBridge, but essentially SkillBridge gives an active duty service member an opportunity to while they're still active duty, they actually work for an employer in somewhat of an internship capacity for their last 6 months of their military contract, with the hope that the employer that they're doing that with will take them on, permanent and full time. So they actually get their military pay for up to 6 months. While they're working on site for this other employer. I mean, it's actually an amazing program. There's a lot to it from both the military aspect of getting the active duty service member ready and approved to do that. As you can imagine, it's federal, so there's a ton of strings attached, but we can get you in contact. I think, Paul would be the most ideal person to connect with here at the Rutland office. And he too can work with the state folks around that. So if you're okay with it, Rob, I'll pass your information along to Paul Gillette so that he can follow
Sure.
up with you.
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, you're
And
welcome.
another thing is that we have trouble being able to get health insurance for the guys. So if we can get guys that have been in the service, that's always a nice thing. They talk about high paying jobs, and it's like, well, I don't know. We've never really made a whole bunch of money off of it. It's a lot of satisfaction, but that's one thing that kind of irritates me sometimes is that we hear they're saying, we get you into high paying energy jobs. And it's like, you guys all the same thing. You didn't start with a high paying job when you first started, did you? Most of us don't. The young kids think they should. I had one guy come in and he said, I want to get paid as much as you do, and you can teach me everything. That's not usually how it works, but so we've had some real interesting conversations with people, young kids coming into for interviews. But that's another area where we've always had trouble trying to have enough. Well, now with the the state being involved in the health insurance, is that because we're under 50 people, we have we can't supply. We have to go through the state, and so we tell the guys, well, we'll help pay for it, but no, if they have a benefit package, and that's what they're looking for. Some they're all looking for different things though, so it's kind of interesting to see how the different people coming in for interviews are looking for different things. So you can't really, I don't know if you folks have you're seeing the same thing, but we're just having trouble finding a whole, a package that we can afford to give or are able to give that everybody wants. And it's hard to have, flexible time on our type of work. We do a lot of service work as well as, bigger jobs, but I've always been on call myself for many years, and we don't have anybody that wants to be on call now. The kids want to work, if you get them to work to 40 hours, that's great. But they don't want to work overtime. They don't want to be on call. You can pay them, a weekly amount to be on call for a week and time and a half for calls, and they won't do it. Not that they don't want to, but they won't. Like, anybody can go out on calls now because nobody wants to do it. So it makes it even tougher.
Rob, you're bringing up a good point. This might be a good moment for me to share the employer survey. And Ellen, I know you asked about it, but I'll just take a moment just to kind of share about the Bridge program and what's been going on. We are still working on a grant amendment. As you all know, there's been some changes on the federal level. So we want to have some broader language within the grant. We did bring on some new partners. Cedar, because of the Bring Back the Trades event, which has been an opportunity for not just the career exploration piece, but also for recruitment and engagement on this program. And we've also brought on Resource. Missy's here from Vermont Works for Women, and also the MIT. And that's just to expand the capacity for the participants and also leverage some of the existing programs that are already going and already have been successful in the community. We have some potential new employer partners through Stafford Technical Center. Coca-Cola is a potential partner. And also Rutland Regional. I know you all, Brian, are looking for folks that are going to be trained in the medical areas. So we're looking at STC focusing on CDL training, M&A training, LNA training, and phlebotomy. But I think it sounds like we also need to discuss the X-ray techs, since that's a high demand field. We're looking at July as a start date for the boot camp and courses at STC. They're really trying to pull it together. But in the meantime, we conducted this employer survey. We sent it out to 7 employers. We got 4 responses, which was pretty good. And a lot of what Rob has talked about are the things that folks are really interested, because the purpose of the survey was really to get an idea of what folks needed as far as the participants, like what are the skills that they need to set them up for success. And a lot of it is just the soft skills. What we're hearing is like things that kind of point to character, like commitment, being on time, wanting to persevere through the job, and other things like respect and dedication. So we heard a lot of those things that are like speaking more to like the character of the participant. But we did hear some things like they do need some math skills, as far as education and good writing skills as well. We asked the employers about their average capacity for participants, like how many can they actually feasibly take on? And what we're hearing is about three participants on average. And then we asked about the time frame that's needed, and that was there were more qualitative responses for that one, where folks were saying, well, it depends on the position, so something like electrical, they're going to need a lot more than for someone, for example, going into weatherization. But we're looking at an average time frame about 6 weeks. So we're taking all this information and looking at it and talking to our partners who are doing the training to look at, okay, what can we provide these participants with so that we are setting them up for success before they even get to the employers. So more to come on that, but that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions before
If I could just add a couple thoughts here. One of the things we told her was that if they, in those camps, they could kind of sort people out, find out more about, what areas they're interested in and what abilities they have. Some of the more skilled trade jobs need both math and science. And we've had fellows that we sent through the electrical apprenticeship program, and they have trouble with the math and the science part of it. Within the second year, they're having trouble. So you guys kind of, better classify who could go into different areas. They might have an idea that they'd like to, but that maybe they really aren't that good at. We can train them and teach them the stuff they need to be taught. We need to help in getting the right person in there that we can teach, train. So we don't expect you to try to teach them stuff, the electrical stuff, or whether it be plumbing or welding, whatever it would be. If the technical part of it that they need to know, that's our job. And we need you guys to help get the people in the door that are the right people that will, there again, might be willing to stay with us for more than a year or 2 years. We're paying the bill for them to go through the apprenticeship program. And a lot of times they'll take off and we don't keep her anymore. We used to have more guys that would stay on, but they go through the 4 years, get the journeyman, and then they're off. And this last 2 years, we've had a number of the people that have graduated from the apprenticeship program, and their 4 years got the journeyman license, and they took their apprentice with them, their helper. So usually we send 2 guys out together. So they talk their helper into going out and working for them. So here we spent money on 2 people each year, and then they're gone, and we're not getting anything out of it. And the state tells us that we're not allowed to have them, help pay it, or to tell us that they'll stay with us for a couple of years after they get it, for kind of reimbursement for the effort and money that we put into it. So it becomes kind of hard.
Thank you,
Thanks
Rob,
for
for
this.
sharing that. I think that's one of the things that we're looking at is like, how do we address the folks that, employers like you that are small businesses that need folks to stay for a long time? How can we incentivize that? I know we're short on time, but Missy sat in on some of the conversations we've had. Did you want to unmute and share? Missy has been part of the team of partners that's trying to build a robust program that gives not just employers other options, but the participants different options based on their interests.
Sure. Wendy, did you have a comment first?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I was
Wendy,
just-
I didn't see your hand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It was just super quick in response to sort of apprentices needing certain reading and math skills. And I'm sure Robbie is familiar with this too because of his connection with Stafford Tech. But Stafford Tech has been trying to promote work readiness communities. And so this would be something that is actually done through an assessment tool called Work Keys. And I believe because Stafford Tech is receiving Perkins funding, that they're actually required to assess through work keys, but work keys, there's two components to it. So work keys is on the student side or the individual. They don't have to be students. Anybody, adults can take a work keys assessment and figure out where their reading and their math levels are. And then employers can actually have their jobs that they're recruiting for that are within their place of employment. They can actually have them assessed to figure out what work keys ratings that particular job requires. And the idea behind these work readiness communities is that we have workforce that has knowledge of where their work keys assessments are, and then we have employers that have knowledge of what ratings their jobs require, and then the matches can happen, so that as you've got applicants that are applying for maybe electrical apprenticeship position, that you already know something about their ability for math and for science based on a work keys assessment that they took. So work keys is not something new, by the way. It's been around for many, many years. And it's sort of been in and out of Vermont in different versions, but now that it's a requirement under CTE to utilize work keys as a place of assessment, I think it's coming back, particularly around these work readiness communities. But Stafford is definitely leading the charge and trying to develop the breadth of employers that also recognize the value of individuals having these ratings. So just wanted to throw that out there.
If I could just, Missy, if you just give me a second.
Sure.
That's a good point, because GE has very good assessment tools, and they know where these people can go that are, taking their test. I once had a motorcycle accident, had to go through adult education, adult training, one of the adult assessment, health services, to tell me what I might be able to do because I messed up parts of my body and wasn't sure if I get back into construction. And the assessment told me that I could be a grain elevator operator. Now, I don't know if any of you know if there are any more grain elevator that are in Vermont than I do, but there aren't very many. So that really didn't help me a whole lot. But I know GE has these very good assessment tools, and it'd be interesting to look into this thing too. Because the screening is what we need you guys to help us with. Find people that are really interested, not just sending them to us. So that's a good point. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome. And the assessment, this particular assessment isn't going to tell a person that they need to be a grain operator. But instead will say your math ability is this,
Right.
your locating information ability is this. And then that relates to, jobs, a wide range of jobs that have been profiled in a community. So yeah. Yep. Rob, you might want to ask Robbie about
Yeah,
it,
I'll check into that, yeah.
connecting. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So, I really hear everything you're saying, Rob. And in fact, it was a conversation with your son when we first started the Trailblazers program 6 years ago that helped me start to understand what the landscape is for apprentices and for small businesses trying to find workers in the trades. And it is, the Trailblazers program and what we do at Vermont Works for Women, we have run programs in conjunction with the Mint in Rutland. We're not there in 2025, but we'll be back in 2026. We're trying to be kind of in different places around the state. And last fall, we actually did our Trailblazers program at the Mint in partnership with Vermont Adult Learning. And I worked for Vermont Adult Learning for a couple of years before I worked at Vermont Works for Women. And that, I saw the work keys in action, and it's not that, this is the type of career you could have, because we've all taken those, but the math and the science assessments, I think, are really useful. And they use those for everybody getting GEDs to begin with. So I have so many women who come to me and say, I would really like to learn to be an electrician or a plumber. And the really I completely understand the hesitancy of smaller contractors in taking someone on as an apprentice. I will say that I have had the best success with larger companies that can afford to take these people on and train them and sponsor them as apprentices. I don't have any data yet on the women who've gone into those programs, but I will tell you that, the demographic we get in Trailblazers is pretty different. They tend to be women and gender expansive folks who have been in the been professionals, been working for 10, 15, 20 years, always wanted to work in the trades, didn't have the opportunity. Everybody said, oh, just go to college. Nobody would teach them to use tools and things. And they really just want to work in the trades, and they're very excited to do that. So they have, I think, more anecdotally, more staying power. In the trades, but it is still, every time I talk to anybody at the State House, anywhere, you know, I feel like I'm going to date myself, a broken record. And because I'm always saying, you need to support the smaller contractors because they're the ones who provide the pipeline into the trades. So, I've been a few years about that. I think at least people are listening a little bit, but right now I'm also having success, which is interesting, at doing sort of an end run. Like if I have someone who is interested in electrical or plumbing, if I can get them into a large HVAC company, then that does two things. One is that it gets them into the pipeline, and two, they don't always know exactly what they want to do. Like they may say, think they want to be an electrician, but they haven't been exposed, just like many of the young people coming out of high school. They haven't been exposed to what's out there, so they don't really know what's available to them. So working for one of these larger companies, then they can kind of try different things. Then if they decide they like electrical, they can go into that. But I really do feel that I just don't see our state supporting the smaller contractors the way they could. Rob, you're talking about trying to find health care and trying to pay them a living wage. And, that is just such a huge challenge. So, we are able once in a while to place, at least as in, we do internships, and they're really more of a short work experience. And if all of our Trailblazers participants are over 18, so at least they can do sort of a job shadow and then maybe take it from there. But I just will um, echo what you're saying about the apprenticeship landscape being very challenging in the trades.
So we've had at least 5 or 6 girls, that have worked for us. Some have stayed for a while, some have not, they've left after they got their license or whatever, but they were more reliable, and their work ethics were better than a lot of the guys, so.
Yes, and I think with this, you're talking about all the generations, Ellen. In our last Rutland class, we had participants. We had an 18-year-old woman, and we had, like some in their 40s. And there is just as a boomer myself, right? There's a very large generational divide, even though I have seen the women who come to us tend to be like, employers just say, we want somebody who will show up and be reliable and be willing to learn and have a work ethic. And our participants really have that. And yet I'm still seeing that with the youngest people coming into the workforce now, I'm not seeing that as much. And that's really a matter of concern to me. So, Karima, I don't know if there was anything specific you wanted me to talk about. I'm just kind of venting here.
No, it resonates, so it's okay. And we're close to time. Before we thank you for sharing, Missy.
Mhm.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to revisit the conversation that Devin brought up. I think we were talking about meeting more often. and possibly doing a retreat, or, day-long workshop. Our next meeting is June the 10th, and I'm wondering if we should just push it to June the 10th to really like dive in and decide what that looks like. What are you all feeling would be a good approach to that? I feel like maybe this, the school year will kind of be out and things will be a little bit slower, hopefully in June.
Karima, if I could just, I guess I'm questioning, we have that grant that we're supposed to be showing progress on in different activities. And my question is, are we meeting the milestones, or do we run up against any kind of ceiling or time frame on that? Because I thought, and again, I have so much going on. I don't know if I'm mixing and matching different activities and events, but I thought that we had some milestones that we had to achieve in year 1, and then there were milestones in year 2 and milestones in year 3. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm being attentive to the expectations of that grant and how the funds were supposed to be expended.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Ellen. We've just had our heads down trying to regroup on the amendment. So when Greg drafted the grant, I think things were more in a conceptual kind of frame where, the thought was that it would work this way with the existing partners. Because now I have the grant, I'm getting my arms around really what the landscape is, as far as the workforce, what the resources are, and also like what's the best approach for these participants to set them up to be successful, but also the employers. So really creating something that's sustainable, and that has taken time. And that's taken more expertise than I have in my head. So I've tapped into, different folks. I've had a lot of conversations with Wendy. And so I've been using the resources around me to revise this grant. And so I think that we will make the markers. It sounds like STC is going to be able to get some existing classes going that will help us move towards the small cohort that we're supposed to have this year. But we're really going to ramp it up. We're looking at building something that's really good. And I think the folks in the room that have been helping with it, I think they have some really good ideas. So we're close to getting things moving, but yes, I think we're going to be okay as far as like the progress that we're making on it. Year 2 and 3 are going to really be the robust years where we're really getting the bulk of our participants in, and we're partnering with more employers. So more to come, Ellen. That's what the answer is on that. I know that you all are an employer partner, so we're still trying to figure that out. I was glad to hear that you all do internships around the year, because at first our mark that we were looking at was the summer. I think that is very ambitious considering where we're at. But we are supporting the Bring Back the Trades. That's going to be our annual event that we'll use for outreach and recruitment. So that's also helping us move along in the outreach portion of our deliverables.
Thank you.
But if you have more questions, just let me know. We can talk more offline. You all are due an update from me, so just so you know where things are a little bit more, from a little bit more granular perspective. So sounds like we will discuss in June what's next as far as our schedule. And if no one has any other questions, Wendy, do you want to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, yep. And actually, before I do that, I just want to make just a super quick announcement. So the Vermont Department of Labor is hosting a Job Fest series coming up. So if you haven't heard about it, It is starting in May. The event in Rutland is going to be May 8th. So May 1st, it starts in Middlebury, May 8th is in Rutland, and then May 15th is in Bennington. So this is a full series. We do have some employers and I'm going to back up. So this isn't just open to employers. So if you're an organization and you wanted to even promote career pathways and any sort of area, then you too could actually just sign up. It is free to attend. It is outdoors. We have had employers and agencies that have actually participated in the full series, so all three, but they're from 11 to 2 on Thursdays, and they are outdoors in May. So if you are interested in signing up, you can go right to the Vermont Department of Labor website, and there's a link right to the registration form, and that will get you in the door. So that is coming up. And then just two other super quick announcements. So Department of Labor did recently just support two events at Rutland High School. So the first one was a financial reality fair event that happened a couple of weeks ago. And so we worked really closely with two teachers actually from Rutland High School who wanted to provide this opportunity for juniors. And so that was their first experience, which was also really good. And then, of course, the Global GPS Summit that happened last week. So we're just continuing to push forward, just like everybody else.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yes.
And if you
You're
don't
welcome.
mind, can you send the information on the Skill Bridge? Do you have any information you can share about that?
Yep, I'd be happy to. Yep. All right, excellent.
Thank you.
So I guess on that note, does anybody have any questions or anything else? I know we went 5 minutes over. All right. All right. So I guess we will informally adjourn. I'm not sure that we have a quorum yet anymore. So we'll just informally adjourn. All right.
right.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
There were 7, 8, maybe